Friday, 21 August 2026. 3 Asia-Pacific AI stories before your first coffee. Taipei's cabinet approved a record NT 3.93 trillion central government budget for fiscal 2027, balanced with zero net borrowing for the first time in 78 years, as AI-related corporate earnings and a securities transaction tax of 1.9 times pushed January to July tax revenue to NT 2.88 trillion, or 72.9% of the full-year target. In the same week, state utility Taipower disclosed accumulated losses of NT 376.4 billion and warned that fuel costs will climb more than NT 120 billion in 2026, following a first-half loss of 25.7 billion. Taiwan is banking the AI windfall but struggling to power the next phase of it. Why it matters? Taiwan's fiscal surplus is built on the same AI demand cycle that is now straining its grid, and the mismatch has a hard timeline. Data centers go up in 12 to 24 months, but new transmission lines and substations take 5 to 10 years, which means the constraint on hosting compute onshore is not chips or capital, but electrons and permits. A renewable energy executive told a Taipei forum this week that the shortage of low-carbon power is already deterring AI data center investment, despite Taiwan's technical strengths. Capital allocators eyeing Taiwanese AI infrastructure need to price in Taipower's subsidy dependency and grid lead times. The second-order effect to track. If power bottlenecks persist, hyperscalers will route new APAC capacity to Japan, Malaysia, or Indonesia instead, turning Taiwan's chip dominance into an export story rather than an onshore compute story. So Seoul is directing investment not at chip performance, but at the software stack sitting above domestic accelerators, aiming to close the ecosystem gap that keeps Korean NPUs out of production workloads. At OCP Korea Tech Day, government lab ETRI unveiled 3 system software technologies headlined by Osiris, an inference layer designed to plug directly into VLLM, PyTorch, and Triton so that developers can swap accelerators without rewriting code. Separately, Rebellions and AI search company Lino expanded a sovereign model collaboration into a full-stack commercial partnership targeting public sector and financial buyers. Why it matters? Korea's domestic accelerator makers, Rebellions chief among them, have chips that benchmark well but lose deals because CUDA's ecosystem lock-in makes switching costly. Osiris and the broader ETRI toolkit attack that lock-in at the integration layer, giving Korean hardware a path into inference clusters without forcing developers onto a proprietary SDK. Builders running VLLM workloads should watch whether Osiris delivers comparable throughput on Korean NPUs, because that is the real adoption gate. Capital allocators tracking sovereign AI plays will note the Rebellions and Lino tie-up signals a shift from demo stage to commercial pipeline, with government and financial institutions as anchor customers. The second-order effect we're tracking: if the software stack matures, it gives Seoul leverage to bundle chips plus software in export deals across Southeast Asia, where sovereign compute demand is rising fast. Now, Beijing's AI chip market is splitting into 2 tiers. Domestic accelerators now handle cheap, high-volume inference work, but industry figures confirm that complex tasks like coding and agent workflows still queue for Nvidia hardware. China's average daily token calls passed 140 trillion in March, roughly a 1,000-fold increase from the start of 2024, according to National Data Administration figures. Meituan's Longcat 2.0 became the first publicly confirmed trillion-parameter model to complete both training and inference on a domestic cluster of about 50,000 chips, while domestic vendors are forecast to hold roughly 56% of China's AI server chip market this year, up from 46%. Why it matters? The commercial split is now visible. Builders running low-margin, high-volume inference can source domestically and cut costs, but anyone shipping coding copilots or agentic systems still depends on Nvidia silicon, which means longer queues and higher prices under tightening U.S. export controls. Capital allocators should watch HeteroFlow V2, launched on 8 August, which unifies 9 domestic accelerator brands behind a single API, effectively moving the competition for raw chip performance to the software abstraction layer. If that abstraction matures fast enough, it could compress the gap between tiers and pull more complex workloads onto domestic hardware. The first teams to feel the squeeze are agent platform startups that cannot afford Nvidia cluster time and cannot yet trust domestic chips for reliability on multi-step reasoning chains. That is your AI in Asia briefing for today. Stay sharp, build well, see you tomorrow.